I let my wife think she got away with cheating. Then I invited everyone she loved to brunch. People always ask, when did you realize your marriage was over? For me, it started with a salad, which is already suspicious because I am a burger and fries man to my core. My name's Matt, I'm 36, and I used to think my wife, Hannah, would never cheat on me because she was the kind of person who alphabetized the spice rack and cried at dog commercials. Serial killer? Possible. Adulterer? Never. Then came the salad. Hannah came home one Tuesday night with a giant clear container from some fancy place downtown. They do this amazing kale thing, she said, which is how you know evil is nearby. People start praising kale. She set it in the fridge with a little post-it. Do not eat mine. At first I didn't care, but over the next week, that salad became like a character in our marriage. She went out 3 evenings in a row, and every time I opened the fridge, there it was, untouched, glowing with the judgment of 1,000 leafy greens. Finally, on night 4, she came home late again, hair a little messy, smelling like a mix of perfume and someone else's cologne. She kissed my cheek and went straight to the shower, humming. I opened the fridge and the salad was gone. Now, normal people don't go, "Oh, my spouse ate a salad, they must be cheating." But I am not normal. I am anxious. I am observant, and I am petty enough to remember that the container had been in the exact same position for 4 days. The trash can was empty. No container, no fork in the sink, nothing in the dishwasher. "Hey, babe," I called out over the shower running. "You finally ate your kale." Silence for a second too long. "Yeah," she yelled back deep. "Crave something healthy." Healthy, my ass. I didn't say anything, but that salad was my first clue that something in our neat little marriage diorama had fallen off the shelf. The real crack in the glass came a week later with our smart doorbell. We used to joke it was my sidekick because it sent an alert every time a package arrived, and I'd dramatically yell, "To the door, Robin," and run like a child. I'd set it up so every time someone approached, it sent a photo to my phone. Friday afternoon, I was at work when my phone buzzed. Doorbell notification, no big deal. I glanced at it while microwaving leftover lasagna, and there he was. A guy, early 40s, thick dark hair, nice suit, holding a white takeout bag and a coffee, looking very comfortable on my porch. Hannah opened the door in one of those oversized sweaters she only wore when she was home alone. The kind of sweater I used to call the marriage sweater because it meant she felt safe enough not to wear real pants. In the picture, she smiled like she hadn't smiled at me in a while. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe it was a coworker, a relative. Amazon had started sending human beings instead of boxes. But over the next hour, the doorbell did not send a notification of him leaving. And I knew because I checked every 10 minutes. Finally, I couldn't take it. I texted her, me, "Hey, how's your day?" Hannah, "Good, just doing laundry and catching up on emails. You?" I stared at that message so long my lasagna went cold. Laundry, right. That night, she said she was tired and went to bed early. She kissed me on the forehead like I was a kid, not her husband. And that's when another notification popped into my brain. Not from the doorbell, from my memory. I was the one who'd set up the security system. I knew something she didn't know. The cameras had a 72-hour cloud backup, not 24 like she thought. I waited until her breathing settled into that slow, even rhythm she gets when she's gone to the land of dreaming about more throw pillows. Then I slipped out of bed like a raccoon breaking into a campsite and went to my office. I pulled up the footage for that afternoon. There she was. Hannah opening the door, hair down, makeup on, even though she'd told me she was not going anywhere today. The guy walked in like he already knew to take his shoes off in the hallway. Big white bag of takeout, coffee, and a bottle of wine tucked under his arm. Hannah laughed at something he said, tossed her hair, and touched his arm. I felt the floor drop inside my chest. But here's where it gets weird. They went into the living room, sat on the couch, and opened laptops. They ate, talked, typed, drank wine. He leaned over to show her something on the screen. She laughed too hard, touched his arm again. At one point, she put her head on his shoulder for exactly 3 seconds, then sat up like she'd realized what she was doing. No kissing, no undressing, no classic caught in the act moment. Just a lot of energy, leaning, smiling, lingering. And then, when he finally left, she stood in the doorway watching him go. She looked guilty, and a little disappointed. That was somehow worse. I zoomed in on his face. Decent looking guy, strong jawline. The kind of guy who has a gym membership he actually uses. I checked my phone notification again and saw the timestamp. He'd been there 3 times that week. I should have confronted her right then, but instead my brain did what it always does when it panics. It started building a spreadsheet. For the next 2 weeks, I became the world's most miserable private investigator. I started tracking everything. Her late meetings, the times the doorbell went off, her new obsession with networking events and women in marketing mixers that somehow involved blowouts and dresses I hadn't seen since our honeymoon phase. And that's when I noticed twist number 1. Her lover changed. Sometimes it was wine guy. Sometimes it was gym hoodie guy. Once it was a woman with red hair and a leather jacket who kissed Hannah on the cheek just a little too close to the lips. At first I thought, wow, she's really running a social club over here. Then the pattern emerged. Wine guy on Tuesdays. Gym hoodie guy on Thursdays. Redhead every other Saturday. My wife had a schedule. Meanwhile, our conversations had become the verbal equivalent of airplane small talk. How was your day? Fine. Yours? Long. I'm tired. Same. We had gone from partners to roommates with shared dental insurance. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was weirdly impressed by her logistics. Also, to be honest, offended. I mean, if you're going to cheat, at least be cliche and pick one affair. Don't build a rotation like you're drafting a fantasy football team. Twist number 2 came from the dumbest source imaginable. My dog. Technically our dog Mochi, but after this, I claim full custody of him in my heart. One Thursday, Hannah texted that she'd be working late. I'd already seen Jim Hoodie Guy show up on the doorbell, so the late work line hit me like a joke I wasn't invited to laugh at. I was on the couch, cuddling Mochi and watching a cooking show I had no intention of recreating when my phone buzzed with an alert from the dog walking app. Your walker has arrived. We hadn't booked a walker. I opened the app. There it was. A same-day walk booked by Hannah. Time slotted neatly between when Jim Hoodie Guy arrived and when he'd left the last few times. I stared at Mochi. He stared back like, bro, I just work here. That was it. That was my tipping point. She was outsourcing the dog so she could cheat in peace. That was sacrilege. I didn't erupt though. Something in me clicked from hurt husband mode into cold, petty spreadsheet mode. I didn't want to just catch her. I wanted her to be unable to lie about it, to watch the whole facade crack all at once. I wanted revenge, but not the crime show kind. I didn't want to hurt her. I wanted to expose her, so I did the most dangerous thing a wounded, overthinking man can do. I made a plan. Step 1, I pretended to be the one who was drifting away. I started going to the gym after work, not because I care about my triceps, but because it gave me a reason not to be home. I signed up for a weekend woodworking class. I bought a flannel shirt. I was fully committed to the bit. Hannah noticed. You're out a lot lately, she said one night, stirring pasta without looking at me. Yeah, I answered as casually as I could. Figured I should get some hobbies. You've been really busy. She froze for half a second. It was so quick most people would have missed it, but I'd been watching her like she was the season finale of a show I was live tweeting. Yeah, she repeated. Work's insane. I nodded. Yeah, I'm sure. We ate in silence. I let it sit there, heavy and awkward, like a third place setting. Step 2, I made friends with our smart home. If you think talking to your smart speaker is creepy, try talking through it. I already had camera footage, doorbell notifications, and her dog walking schedules. Now I went through our shared calendar, which she never thought I checked, and cross-referenced her networking events with the doorbell visitors. They matched perfectly. Then I added my own secret event to the calendar. Brunch, Sunday, 11 a.m. Matt and Hannah's place. No guests listed, just us. Like a romantic couple planning something boring and wholesome. Then I started inviting people. Not guests for brunch, witnesses. My sister, her brother, 2 of our closest mutual friends, and, just for spice, her boss. I texted each of them something slightly different. Hey, I'm planning a surprise for Hannah. Can you come by at 11 on Sunday? Don't tell her. I want to catch her off guard. In a good way. No one questioned it, because I have never been the dramatic one in any social circle. If Hannah and I were a cop duo, she'd be the wild card, and I'd be the guy filling out the paperwork. Saturday night, Hannah announced she had a spa morning planned with a friend. Nice, I said. I'm just gonna hang at home with Mochi, maybe make brunch. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Don't wait for me," she said. "Oh," I replied, "I won't." Sunday morning, I got up early and did what any heartbroken, vengeful American man would do. I went to Costco. I bought enough food for a small army. Eggs, bacon, waffles, fruit, mimosas, that big tub of pre-cut pineapple that tastes like mild regret but looks impressive on a plate. I even grabbed a bouquet of flowers because I am, at my core, a dramatic bitch. At 10:30, my sister arrived, looking confused and excited. "What are we celebrating?" she asked, setting down a box of donuts. "Endings," I said, "and new beginnings." "Are you pregnant?" she asked. "No," I said. "Sit down." Her brother came next, then our friends, then her boss, Maria, who had the exact energy of a woman who could fire you and then help you write your LinkedIn post about it. They all gathered in the living room while I nervously flipped pancakes like I was about to deliver a TED Talk. "So," Maria said, eyebrows raised, "what's the big surprise?" I set down the spatula and took a breath. "I'm about to show you all something," I said. "I need you to see it because I want there to be no confusion about what happens after today." My sister frowned. "Matt, you're scaring me." "I'm scaring me," I said. "So we're even." At 11:07, the doorbell camera pinged. There she was, Hannah, hair done, makeup perfect, in a dress I hadn't seen in 2 years, standing on the porch with Wine Guy, laughing, holding a tiny fancy pastry box. I turned the living room TV on and switched to the live feed. Everyone went dead silent. We watched Hannah turn to him, straighten his collar, and say, "He has no idea. This is perfect." My sister whispered, "Oh my God." Her brother stood up, then sat back down like his legs had forgotten how to function. Maria's jaw clenched so tight I thought she might crack a tooth. "I didn't invite him," I said, voice weirdly calm. "He's extra." Wine Guy handed her the pastry box, leaned in, and kissed her. Not on the cheek, on the mouth. Soft, familiar, like they'd done it 100 times. I heard my sister suck in a breath like she'd been punched. "Wait for it," I said quietly. They rang the doorbell. I turned off the TV, wiped my hands on a dish towel, and walked to the door. When I opened it, Hannah's face did this fascinating sequence of expressions. Delighted, confused, horrified, attempting normal. "Matt," she said too brightly, "you're home." "Yep," I said, "just making brunch." Her eyes flicked behind me, seeing shapes in the living room. What's going on?" Wine Guy, bless his oblivious soul, stuck his hand out. "Hey man," he said, "I'm Nate. Hannah's trainer?" I offered. "Co-worker? Networking event?" He blinked. Come on in," I said. "Everyone's waiting." Hannah's hand tightened on the pastry box so hard the lid bent. "Everyone?" she repeated weakly. I stepped aside and let them see. Her brother, my sister, our friends, Maria, all sitting there on the couch like a very disappointed studio audience. The silence lasted exactly 3 seconds. Felt like 20 minutes. Then my sister stood up. "Oh," she said slowly, "that kind of surprise." Here's the thing about revenge. In my fantasies, I was always yelling, throwing things, delivering a speech so devastating it would echo through time. In reality, I just felt tired, like someone had swapped out my bones for bubble wrap. "Hannah," I said, "I've been recording our doorbell, our cameras. I know about Tuesdays, Thursdays, and every other Saturday. I know about Nate, and the guy in the hoodie, and the woman with the red hair." Her face went white, then red, then something in between. You've been spying on me?" she shot back, grasping for moral high ground like it was a floating door in the Titanic. "I live here," I said calmly. "So do you. You were just counting on me not paying attention." Nate looked back and forth between us. "Wait, there's other guys?" I almost felt bad for him. Almost. My sister let out a wild little laugh. "Bro, you're not even the main villain." Maria cleared her throat. "Hannah," she said, her voice firm in that HR meets judgment tone. "Do you want to explain any of this?" Hannah opened her mouth, then closed it. Her eyes filled with tears instantly, like she found the cry button on remote. "It's not Matt, I can explain," she said. "We've just been so distant, and you've been going out, and I felt neglected, and cheating because you felt neglected is like burning down the house because you don't like the paint color," I said. "And you didn't just cheat, you built a schedule." Her brother spoke up for the first time. "You've been lying to us too," he said quietly. "All those times you said you and Matt were working on communication, I could see the realization hitting everyone in the room, like dominoes falling." Well, I said, exhaling, here's the part where the revenge kicks in. I pulled a folder from the side table and held it up. This, I said, is a packet from my lawyer. I've had it for 2 weeks. It outlines the terms of a divorce I'm filing tomorrow morning. Hannah's eyes widened. You started cheating months ago, I said. I'm late, if anything. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't throw the papers. I handed them to her like I was passing the salt. In this packet, I continued, I've asked for one thing, the house. You can have the car, most of the furniture, and the blessed air fryer, but the house is mine, along with Mochi, because he prefers the energy of people who don't lie. Mochi, who had wandered into the room at some point, chose that exact moment to come sit on my foot. Perfect timing. 10-10. Hannah looked from the packet to me, to our audience, then back. You can't just, Matt, this is humiliating, she whispered. I know, I said. You should have thought of that before you brought your boyfriend to our porch and told him I had no idea. She flinched. I turned to Nate. Just so we're clear, I said. I don't blame you for all of this. I mean, I don't like you. You kissed my wife on my porch. But you also seem to share her talent for being misled, so maybe go home and think about your standards. He opened and closed his mouth a few times, then muttered, Yeah, I'm gonna go. He tried to hand Hannah the pastry box. She didn't take it. He left with it tucked awkwardly under his arm, the door clicking shut behind him. I looked back at the room. So, I said, who wants waffles? You'd think that would be the end, but remember, the universe loves a twist. Twist number 3. My revenge landed better than I expected. Maria pulled me aside while Hannah sobbed in the kitchen, flipping through the packet I'd given her. For what it's worth, Maria said quietly, this doesn't affect your performance at work, and if you need time off, take it. We'll figure it out. I blinked at her. Seriously? She nodded. Honestly, watching you handle this like a calm adult instead of setting something on fire is impressive. My sister hugged me so hard I almost dropped a waffle. Her brother apologized. I always thought you were the boring safe choice, he said, but clearly she was the one who didn't know what she had. Our friends rallied. One of them texted a lawyer contact. Another offered a spare room if I needed somewhere to crash during the mess. As for Hannah, she did what people do when their script gets ripped up in front of an audience. She tried to improvise. She begged. Then she got angry. Then she tried nostalgia. What about our wedding vows? She said later, when everyone else had gone and it was just us at the kitchen table, plates sticky with syrup. Those were nice, I said. I meant mine. Did you? She didn't answer. I slid a small second envelope across the table. And this, I said, is my final piece of revenge. She eyed it like it might explode. What is it? Logan's, I said, to the counseling app I've been using. The one I started 3 months ago because I thought our problems were fixable if I just tried harder. Her face softened. Matt? I've canceled our couples therapy consultation, I went on, because couples therapy requires 2 people who want to be there. She swallowed. That's not revenge. It is, I said. Because the best revenge I can think of is this. I'm going to get better. I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm going to heal. And every time you run into one of our friends, or my sister, or your boss, you'll know they saw who really broke this marriage. I stood up, my chair scraping back. You wanted attention, I said quietly. Now you have it, just not the kind you were hoping for. It's been a year since brunch day. We're divorced. I kept the house and Mochi. She moved into an apartment downtown, which I know because sometimes my doorbell still sends me a random ad for the building, like the algorithm is in on the gossip. The gym hoodie guy and redhead both vanished from her social media around the time the divorce finalized, which I only know about because my sister did recon and sent me screenshots with the subject line, plot development. Nate actually sent me an email once, apologizing for his part in everything. I didn't respond, but I filed it away under proof that I am not crazy. As for me, I started going to the gym for real, not to make her jealous, but because angry cardio is powerful. I kept the woodworking class. There is an extremely uneven bookshelf in my living room to prove it. And yeah, part of me still enjoys the quiet petty satisfaction of knowing my revenge worked exactly the way I wanted, not through screaming or smashing, but by flipping on the lights and letting the roaches scatter. Sometimes people ask if I'd do anything differently. Maybe I'd have paid more attention sooner. Maybe I'd have dragged us to counseling months before her networking events turned into a part-time job. Maybe I'd have bought a better brunch playlist. But deep down, I know this. The moment I stopped trying to protect her image and started protecting myself, everything changed. The best twist of all, I thought my story was about catching my wife cheating and getting revenge. Turns out it was actually about finally stepping out of the role of boring, safe guy in somebody else's drama and becoming the main character in my own life. And yeah, if you're wondering, I still make waffles on Sundays. I just invite people who actually want to be there.